News coming in ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Sweden. The Swedish Prime Minister will go to receive the Indian Prime Minister himself. This is the first time any foreign dignitary will be received personally by the Swedish PM.
It is happening after a gap of 30 years. We greatly look forward to receiving him. There is a very busy schedule that is lined up for the Prime Minister here. There are two parts to his program. The first part is his bilateral meetings with the Prime Minister of Sweden. And the second part is the India-Nordic Summit. I think on the agenda will be issues such as innovation, technology, and Sweden, as you know, is a global leader in technologies that are clean, that are green, and these technologies include waste to energy, waste management.
And joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Siddhant Sibul. He joins us live from Stockholm. Siddhant, Prime Minister Modi will be landing in Sweden this evening, India time. What all is on the table as far as Sweden is concerned?
A lot is happening here in Sweden, the big India-Nordic Summit, but it's just past 12 noon, and of course the big focus is on the Prime Minister's visit, the Indian Prime Minister's visit, and the Indian ambassador here just said that the Swedish Prime Minister will be going to the airport to receive the Indian Prime Minister. This is truly historic and of course breaking the protocol, because never before such a thing has happened that the Swedish Prime Minister has gone to the airport to receive any foreign dignitary, because remember it's something which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has started back home in India, because he has been breaking the protocol and of course receiving the leaders there, starting with the Israeli Prime Minister earlier this year. I'm just talking about this year, and of course he also received the Jordanian King at the airport, and then the French president at the airport. And this shows the growing warmth between all the countries with which the Prime Minister of India has been going to the airport and receiving them. But talking about what's going to happen here, late evening he'll be arriving here in Stockholm. This is the first visit by any Indian Prime Minister in over 3 decades, and tomorrow will be the main day of engagements. Packed schedule tomorrow. He will be, of course, having bilaterals with all the 5 Nordic countries. And with the Swedish Prime Minister also. The Swedish Prime Minister has been to India for the Make in India week in Mumbai, and there have been high-level political engagements. The Swedish Prime Minister and the Indian Prime Minister had a telephonic conversation 4 times last year.
Right. And
the Swedes have been backing India when it comes to permanent membership of the UNSC, MTCR, NSG, and of course the ICJ elections which happened. The Swedes backed India. So clearly a lot is on the table, and of course the big thing will be the India-Nordic Summit. First time it's happening between India and Nordic, and second time in history. The first time it happened in the tenure of US President Barack Obama.
Right, right. And also, Siddhant, yes, indeed, a warm gesture by the Swedish Prime Minister in breaking protocol and going to the airport to receive the Indian Prime Minister. But take us beyond the optics, the fact that this is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Sweden in 3 decades. What is the significance of this visit, and what are the tangible outcomes India is looking forward to?
Well, let me tell you about the Nordic region. The Nordic region consists of 5 countries: Iceland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway and Finland. These are separate political units, but they're culturally similar. They have same history. They were part of Kalmar Union, which encompassed the entire Nordic region. And if it was hypothetically a single country, it would have been geographically the 7th largest country in the world, and GDP-wise, it would have been the 12th largest, much above Australia, Spain, South Korea, and even Mexico. And clearly, if we talk about Nordic countries, they have their leaders in innovation, in technology, smart transport, smart city solutions. Something that can help India in its own flagship programs, such as Clean Ganga, such as smart cities. Volvo has been providing a lot of smart transport in India. A lot of Swedish companies there. Ericsson was in India way before 1905. So clearly, a lot of things are expected to happen. The Indian Prime Minister, before leaving, he is still to leave, but he tweeted Indian Standard Time yesterday night about what to expect. He talked about smart cities, technology. So these are the things which are a win-win for Nordic region and, of course, India. A lot of Indians present here. They are in the IT sector, highly skilled jobs. So that is something India can provide to the Nordic region. And India, of course, wants to present a pan-Nordic idea of engaging with all the Nordic countries, and not treating them as a single unit. And of course, this is for the first time India is engaging with any European country, not through the European Union, but through a separate format. And of course, it's, as I've already told you, that this is for the first time that such a summit is happening between India and the Nordic countries.
Indeed. And also, Siddhant, through your earlier conversations with India's ambassador to Sweden, we got to know that close to 200 Swedish companies have a footprint in India, and Indian companies too are trying to set shop in Sweden. Now, how much of this visit is about attracting more investments to India?
Well, it's all about selling the India growth story. India is the largest, second largest economy and in Asia, and of course it's a fast-growing market, a huge market, something that the Swedes would love. And of course there are a lot of Swedish companies in India, Ericsson, IKEA, and of course Saab is currently in the process of making Griffin fighter jets through the Make in India program in India. The deal is still yet to go. There was the Defense Ministry had called for information. So these are the things that that can complement and of course increase the trade between not only Sweden and India, but Nordic region and India, and especially its renewables. That's something India is looking forward for, because these countries run basically on renewables. Iceland, it's like 100% the country runs on renewables thanks to the geothermal energy it has. This is something India would really like to have it. But by and large, this visit is historic for the fact that it's for the first time Indian Prime Minister is visiting Stockholm in over 3 decades. And of course, the focus is to re-engage and increase the ties between Nordic country and India in various fields, whether it's people-to-people contact, whether it's business, whether it's political level. And of course, we will be getting visuals from the palace here where the Prime Minister is going to meet the King of Sweden.
Indeed, a historic visit in the offing. Thank you so much, Siddhant Sibal, for joining us with those updates and perspective.